Today's video is all about inspiration. So I want to share little things that really inspire me, and it's everything from lifestyle, social media tips and tricks, work ethic, and a few audiobooks on Audible. Hey guys, it's Dr. Mona, and today's video is all about inspiration and motivation. So you guys have been asking me kind of what drives me and what makes me want to push so hard and like the little things, even like morning routine or workout. So I really wanted to make this video to share some things that honestly I swear by and I've been doing for so long. So I think some of them will really help you. The first thing is good light. So this sounds kind of vague, I know, but I cannot stress how important this is. This is actually really studied. There's something called seasonal depression, and there's some people that, when it's a little bit darker or in the wintertime, they actually get depressed. So if you really think about what the root of this is, it's you're not getting like that great sunlight that just makes you feel happier, and I feel more motivated. For some people, it definitely does for me. I feel much more inspired when it's sunny out. So something that I do whenever I'm apartment hunting, even if I'm staying in a hotel, I try to make sure that I always have good light. I really prioritize this over size of apartment, like sometimes even over location a little bit. Like good light is so important. I remember a few years ago I was apartment shopping, and there was this one apartment in the building that was bigger, less expensive, beautiful kitchen, but it was so dark, and it was an absolute no for me because I know that every morning when I wake up, I'm not going to feel inspired. This even goes kind of as far as if I'm staying in a hotel room, I never use the blackout curtains. I know some people love that and they love to get the maximum amount of sleep, but honestly, your body, its natural circadian rhythm is meant to wake up as the sun rises. And obviously this is not always realistic. We're not always waking up when the sun rises, but just kind of knowing what your natural state is and what you're supposed to gravitate towards. For me, I'd rather have the sunlight wake me up, even if it's like 30 minutes earlier than I want to wake up. I just think it's much more pleasant. When there's blackout curtains, if it's 1 p.m., like I don't know what's going on. It just confuses me. Some of these might seem like a little bit extreme, like even like the no blackout curtains, like good light. But I truly think that you have to be a little bit extreme to fight for inspiration and happiness. And I think that the people I kind of wonder how those people who get results or are happy all the time, it's because they fight for it and they put in the effort. So that's something that really inspires me. The next thing I want to talk about is social media. So I know social media gets kind of a bad rep where it can be negative and it can remind us of everything we don't have because everyone's always putting their best foot forward. And I think that a lot of that is true, and you can get a lot of negative comments on social media, but I also think there's so much positive it can bring. And one thing that I've actually even started doing lately, which don't tell any of my friends, but I've been muting a lot of people on Instagram, on Facebook that I don't necessarily feel amazing when I see, like for whatever reason. Maybe they're a little bit pessimistic in the way they write their captions. Maybe for some reason I'm like, oh, I wish I could be there and I'm not, and I'm sitting at home working. Whatever the reason, that's for no one else to judge. Muting is honestly the best function that came about on social media. I actually tell people this all the time and they don't realize that you can mute on your feed and in your stories. So you don't want to unfollow because that's rude and you don't want to make it awkward. It could be your friend. Maybe you have a close friend or family that you can't unfollow, but their posts genuinely make you feel negative. Just mute them. It's honestly a game changer. I can tell you firsthand that it significantly improves my productivity. You can also decide you're not going to scroll, but I know that's hard. Sometimes it's just literally become second nature for us to scroll when we have like a second. So I highly recommend muting anything and everything that doesn't make you feel amazing and positive, and following accounts that do inspire you. There's so many great accounts out there, and this can change often. Like sometimes I'm really inspired by like business pages, and sometimes I'm really inspired by like, deeper like meditative like Eckhart Tolle or Oprah or something. Actually, one of my favorite accounts, so random, is Diddy. I think it's I Am Diddy is his Instagram. I'll pop it up, but formerly known as Puff Daddy. There's just something about his vibe that's just so positive and fun. And for me, he just inspires me, like his work ethic. I like it. So find whatever works for you and continue to follow those people. The next thing I want to talk about is collaboration. So I kind of mean this in a broad term where it could be collaborating on business. If you are in the blogging space, collaborating there. If you are trying to reach fitness goals, collaborating, also known as partnering with someone so that you have someone to kind of push and motivate you. any kind of goal you have, I find that when I'm working with someone and we bounce ideas off each other and I get excited and maybe like, it just mixes it up a little bit. I find it to be a lot more inspiring, especially if you are starting your own business. They call this like solopreneur instead of entrepreneur. For a long time, that's what I was doing. And it can honestly get really lonely because you're by yourself, you're working in your home. Sometimes you're working at a coffee shop, and it's just better to bounce things off of somebody. So I think instead of always being competitive with those around you, if you learn to collaborate, it will just benefit both of you. Like there's enough space in the world for everybody to succeed. So collaboration is just something that I think will help you even maybe lessen your competitiveness. Like a little competition is of course good in a healthy way, but I think collaborating will just help you, help them and just get you further along. So next thing I want to talk about is a few audiobooks that I really like. I've talked about this before. I like listening to them on Audible. I like audiobooks just because I'm not a big reader. I get a little bit distracted. I like to be productive while I'm listening. For me, it just sinks in more. So I love listening to audiobooks while I'm driving, cleaning, cooking, whatever, in the shower, you name it. So I've saved a couple on here that I think could really help you, and they're both a little bit different depending on what you need inspiration for. So the first one is by Tim Grover, and the book is called Relentless. This one really stuck out to me. It's basically all about how to be super relentless to get whatever you want in life. This is something that's been ingrained in my personality since I've been younger. I've never really wanted to take no for an answer, and this could be like, I want my friend to come to a party with me, and if she says no, and I will literally ask and ask and ask 50 times until she says yes. And it's just, I think, a personality trait that will go for business, that will go for anything. And I think learning to really just fight for what you want and not give up right away. Another thing about Tim Grover is he's really highly respected because he's worked with some of the most influential people of our time, like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And he's just, he really just has kind of this no BS approach to it. So I highly recommend listening to this one if you feel like maybe like you give up easily or you kind of back down if someone says no. If you find yourself doing this in certain situations and just really want to get after it, then you should listen to this one. The other one I wanted to recommend is by Hal Elrod. This one is called The Miracle Morning. I really wanted to recommend this one to you guys because oftentimes when I've done a morning routine video, some of you have been like, how do you have the time? How do you want to wake up when you want to sleep more? And I also think that kind of in the YouTube world, so many people constantly share their morning routine. So I think this one could really be of interest. What's cool about this audiobook is they go into like centuries of research of morning rituals and how these can literally change your life. And I know a lot of people know that morning rituals and morning routines are good, but it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to do it. But I personally am a strong believer that when you understand something and really know the research behind it and why it's good, it will give you that inspiration. Like if someone just tells me like, eat an apple, it's good for you, I might be like, okay. But if I really know like, wow, there's this like compound in it that can really like, boost hydration and like it has a lot of fiber and it's going to get rid of acne and I really understand how it works, that I'm just going to think about that more. So I think listening to this book could really help get you into your own morning ritual and routine, which honestly will help reduce stress. It'll help reduce anxiety. This is especially good if you feel really sluggish in the morning or not inspired in the morning. This one could be a really great one for you. If you guys want to check out any of those audiobooks that I recommended, you can get them on Audible. So basically you can get your first audiobook free and then 2 Audible originals when you do your 30-day trial. I will put my link below. It's audible.com/Dr. Monavan. Or you guys can also text Dr. Monavan to 500-500. Again, I really like Audible. It's a super user-friendly app. You can stream it anywhere, which is so convenient. And if you live in a city where you're driving a lot, like in LA, we are always in our car. Even if you're going 5 minutes down the road, it takes 30 minutes. So being able to be productive during that time and listen to an audiobook, I just think even boosts my inspiration more. The more productive I am, the better I feel. Also, there's just so many different options of audiobooks you can listen to, and you can search by category. So even if you want more inspiration, you can just search like motivation, inspiration, whatever you want, your key search to be, you can get there. So I just love that it has a wide range of options. And the last tip I want to share is just simply staying busy. So I've found throughout the years that the busier I am, the more productive I am, and the more inspired I am. Whenever I get into a little bit of a lull where like I just don't do anything, let's say I'm like a bit lazy for like a day or two where I'm not really feeling inspired, I notice that it just continues on and it affects my energy. It kind of comes this like negative feedback loop where one thing's causing the other, which causes the other, where I'm like, I'm not inspired, then I'm lazy, then I'm not inspired. So, but then I notice when I'm literally like up to my ears, like meeting, busy, like working, and this is even before when I was first starting my business and wasn't making any money, I was just pushing to work to get to that point. I was like taking classes and like writing blog posts and learning how to talk on video and doing all these different things. I was so inspired and like fired up. So get yourself busy and just kind of fill your calendar, and it will kind of push you to stay more inspired. So those are my tips on how to stay inspired. I just inspired myself, honestly. I feel like I'm fired up talking about this video. So I hope this really helped you. I would love to hear what inspires you and what pushes you. I think we could start a really positive chain in the comments of different things and get ideas from each other. So let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.